Now then, Eric Hall is a football agent who's managed the careers of the likes of John Barnes, Tim Sherwood and Dennis Wise, and Charlie Webster is a television presenter and former patron of Sheffield United. She resigned as a patron after the club initially agreed to let Evans return to training when he was released on parole. The club later retracted its offer following heavy criticism. Welcome to you both. Let me start with you, Charlie. One of the principles of our criminal justice system is the rehabilitation of convicted felons.
Yeah.
So why not in the case of Ched Evans?
Of course. I completely agree with you. I think that maybe I need to once again make it clear that I'm not sat here and I haven't spoken out saying that Ched Evans shouldn't have a job and I don't believe in rehabilitation. I 100% do. We have a fantastic justice system and criminals should be rehabilitated and reintegrated back into society.
Just not a celebrity footballer, or?
Not in the case of anybody that influences young people, that influences the next generation, that is a role model. And that is why there are clear laws also in place, alongside rehabilitation, that state there are certain crimes that are committed which rule you out for certain jobs.
If he had apologised on his website, and he hasn't, I mean, he still says he claims that he's innocent, even though he has been convicted by a jury. If he'd apologised, would that have made a difference in your eyes?
Ched Evans hasn't apologised, and I think you've brought up the website. It's actually under investigation at the moment because the website doesn't only not have an apology for the victim, it also vilifies the victim and has a huge amount of abuse. So while people are saying, oh, come on, give Ched Evans a chance, maybe in this society in 2015 we should raise awareness about rape and stand up and say, we will not tolerate sexual abuse and rape. And actually what we'll do, instead of victim blame, instead of feeling sorry for offenders, because it was Ched Evans who decided to do the act, nobody else. I'm not ruining his career. Ched Evans has ruined his career.
I think you've got to be careful what you're saying, my darling, because
hang on a minute.
You know, he is appealing, and so you be very careful legally.
Okay, well, but he is a convicted rapist.
Yes,
okay?
but
He
he's
is also,
appealing.
as a footballer, he's also a role model. So
Well, not really.
why should he be back on the football pitch?
Why shouldn't he be?
Why should he be?
Why should he be? Because that is his trade, and that's, you know, as a kid of 8, 9-year-old boy, he was kicking footballs against walls and in public places, and then he joined a club, and then joined Sheffield United later, which you would know about. And all his life he's been a footballer. That is his trade, and I believe that it's a restraint of trade what they're trying to do for this kid. I really do. It's a restraint of
Do
trade.
you think he should have apologised for what he did? Showed some
Well, he's
degree
saying
of contrition?
But Bobby is saying he didn't do it, so why should he apologise for something he believes he did not do? He's still claiming, rightly or wrongly, he's still claiming that he's innocent. That's why he's doing the appeal.
Well, he is a convicted rapist. I mean, the jury has convicted him.
Yes, but he's got to fight that decision, as we all know now. So let's see, maybe, but maybe after the appeal happens, good, bad or indifferent, he then may make a
But there's
statement.
more to it than just the decision of whether he should play or not. I mean, when you were at Sheffield, you were sent intimidating emails about this, weren't you? And you still are, is that right?
Yeah, I think that anybody, including the victim and anybody that speaks out, and I'm not speaking out against Ched Evans.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
Yes,
not.
you are.
Hang on, just excuse me.
But she is, because she's not what are you...
Just hang on a minute.
don't understand that.
I'm speaking out against sexual abuse, which I have done for years. I ran 250 miles this time last year to football clubs to raise awareness to stand up against violence against women. What I'm talking about is that Ched Evans influences the next generation of young men and young women that we say, OK, you know what, sexual abuse isn't that serious, so it's OK, you'll get a pat on the back, you'll get 2.5 years in prison.
That's not true.
and go
That's
back-
Just wait a minute. Can you just let her finish?
and go back to your ordinary life. Anyway, all I was saying, just 1 minute, is that anybody that's speaking out against sexual abuse does get a lot of abuse and threats. And actually, I have had private contact from people like high-profile footballers contact me.
Can you tell us who they were?
No. Because I have a friendship with them and a trust with them. But there are high-profile footballers that are thanking me for standing up. It's their trade, it's their football, and these are these archaic views. This is the opportunity for football to say no and to stand up and say, not in my game.
And I'll get you in a minute, but if that's the case, Charlie, how high-profile were they? I mean, why don't we have their names? Were they Premier League? Were they Champions League? Give us some idea.
They're very high-profile in Premier League, and like you just said to me, is that anybody that's spoken out, including myself, has had a lot of serious abuse, threatening abuse, is probably the reason why high-profile footballers haven't stood up and said anything.
OK, Eric, so let me ask you this question. If high-profile footballers, we're not going to be told the names, but if even footballers are saying, we're not going to... hang on a minute, you don't know that. Don't make those
we don't know
accusations if
she
they're
is.
unfounded. But if high-profile footballers, and some of them have said it publicly as well, apparently, if they say we don't want to play with Ched Evans, they have a point, don't
They
they?
don't have to play with him. Then if they're playing a match, Oldham, if he signs, are playing against Sheffield United, and the Sheffield United players don't want to play against him, they won't play that day. So again, it's freedom. You know, not living in communist Russia, thank God, which is good now, or Nazi Germany. It's freedom. And why stop a man? His trade, as I said, restraint of trade. All his life he's been a footballer. Why are we stopping this man from playing football? He served his sentence, rightly or wrongly, and he's appealing against the word rape, but he served his sentence, he took his punishment. That means that every person who's charged with rape in any profession should never be able to work again.
Okay.
Of course.
Who's going to pay their money?
Okay, Charlie.
There's a couple of points I'd like to make. One is that, as I keep saying, I'm not sure you're listening, or maybe that some of the public are listening. I'm not saying he shouldn't have a job. He should have a
And
job.
the footballer has his trade.
He
Let
can
her
go and
finish
get a
her
job,
point.
just like a teacher's their trade. But they can't go back and be a teacher because they influence young people just like Ched Evans influences people. And the thing is, if
Okay.
we tolerate sexual abuse views,
Okay.
nothing will change. You know, this year, 400,000 women
Okay.
will be abused, will be sexually abused in this society. But you know what? Instead of us debating it, and instead of you trying to organise and control the debate, why don't the FA stand up and actually end this?
Okay, on that point, we have to unfortunately end this debate. Thank you very much for coming in, Charlie Webster, Eric Hall.
Thank you.
John.